Today I'm talking about the time where one of my friends literally punched one of my teachers in the face. So sit back and relax because this is going to be a crazy one. So this all starts off about 2 years ago when I was age 15. There was this kid named Jesse in my class, right? His name's not actually Jesse, but for the sake of this story time, we're going to be calling him Jesse. This happened in year 9, so Jesse, he was basically the kid in the class with anger issues. He really got mad whenever something bad would happen, and most of the time take it way too far. Now I was friends with Jesse because it was a pretty cool kid to hang around, apart from the fact that he'd literally get pissed off over nothing. But this all just started off as a normal day. I went into class. It was a Wednesday morning. We walked into homeroom. Now something you got to understand is that our homeroom teacher that we had was probably one of the strictest teachers in the school. He would literally yell at everyone and just be an absolute mess when he walked in the classroom. He was basically that guy that you did not want as your teacher, and I had him as my homeroom teacher for the whole year. So we walk into class this morning. I end up walking in with a few of my mates, and we end up sitting in the back of the classroom. So at this point it's 9 a.m. Jesse walks in at about 9:05, which is about 5 minutes late. So Jesse walks in. The teacher immediately yells at Jesse, "What are you doing here so late? Like, it's literally 9:05. You do this every single morning." And Jesse's like, "Okay, I have a pass, okay? Can you calm down? Like, here's my pass." And the teacher says, "Me calm down? I have to wait for you every single morning to come in and you always interrupt the class." And Jesse said, "I have a pass for being late. Like, what don't you understand about that?" So at this point, I'm literally like, oh god, it's already about to go down. It's 9:05 in the morning. This is not what I expected to happen when I first walked in. So the teacher looks at Jesse's late pass, as it's called, because when you walk in late, you have to go to the office and basically you have to explain why you're late, and then you get a pass to walk into the classroom. Really stupid stuff. I absolutely hate how the school works like that, because it basically treats you like it's a prison. But whatever, I digress. School system aside, Jesse basically walks into the classroom, sits down next to us, and I'm like, "Jesse, bro, why were you late?" He literally says, "Yeah, the traffic is really bad and all this sort of stuff." And I'm like, "Bro, why does the teacher get so worked up over you literally being 5 minutes late? Like, it's not like he's affecting him in any way. Like, I don't understand it." He's like, "Yeah, bro, I don't get it either, but it is what it is." So the teacher all sits us down. We end up going through the roll or whatever, like roll call and all that sort of stuff. Then the teacher says the horrifying news. Like, this is something that we never wanted to hear, and basically says that he's going to be teaching us for all 6 periods today, because there'd been an outbreak of COVID in the school, and basically there were no teachers that were actually able to work, so he had to take all of our classes. And I was like, "Bro, are you serious? Like this guy's a complete asshole, and now I've just realized that we got him for the rest of the day. It's not going to be a great day, is it?" And the moment Jesse hears that, he puts his head on the desk. He's like, "Oh, for God's sake." And the teacher literally looks over at Jesse doing that, and he literally gets up and yells at Jesse again. He's like, "Jesse, if you don't want me as your teacher, then get out of the classroom. I don't want you here." And Jesse literally says, "Okay, then I'll leave then." Jesse literally gets up, walks out the classroom, and then he literally just walks away. And I'm guessing the teacher didn't expect that, because the teacher literally opened the door, goes outside, and yells at Jesse to come back. And I hear Jesse literally scream out, "You don't want me in your classroom, then I'm not coming back, alright? Is that what you want?" And the teacher yells, he literally says, "Get back in this classroom right now." This is the most insane thing I've ever heard. This is probably going to be one of the craziest starts to a story time I've ever seen. So Jesse ends up walking back in the classroom. Literally, it's so stupid. I don't understand when teachers say get out of the classroom. Okay, I'll get out. Anytime a teacher would say to me, "Get out of the classroom," I literally would. I'd just get up and leave, because I don't want to be there. So anyway, after all that, we end up having this teacher for our first 2 periods. Nothing really out of the ordinary happened during that. So we end up having recess, and we end up going back for period 3. I'm pretty sure we had maths at this time. So we all walk into the classroom. Everything seemed normal after the absolute after the absolute fest that we had in homeroom. So Jesse walks in, I walk in, we all sit down. We're all just we're not having a good time. Let's be real, we're in school. But we all sit down, and basically the teacher starts talking, and Jesse points out something to me. I can't remember what he said, but he basically he tapped me on the shoulder and he started talking to me for a little bit. Basically just not paying attention to what the teacher was saying, because let's be honest, no one cared about year 9 maths. And then I see the teacher literally stop, right? And when the teachers do the thing where they stop and just wait for the student to stop talking while everyone's just waiting and looking at them. So Jesse doesn't realize that the teacher has stopped talking, and he literally stops for probably 20 seconds while Jesse's still talking to me. And I'm like, "Yo, Jesse, he stopped talking, shut up." And the moment Jesse realizes, he turns around, looks at the teacher staring at him, and then the teacher unloads at Jesse. Okay, probably wrong choice of words, but you get what I mean. Literally looks over at Jesse and says, "How many times do you have to be disruptive today? Not only have you walked in late, you've ended up disrupting the class, you're disrupting me now, and you're talking over top of me. Why do you have to be so disrespectful?" And Jesse, being the kid with anger issues, literally turns up and says, "Because I don't care about your class. I don't want to be here." And at that point, I'm like, oh shit. you are done. Like, that is probably the worst thing you could have said. And the teacher literally stands up and is like, go to the principal's office right now. So Jesse gets up, goes to the principal's office, and I don't see him for another 2 periods. And I sat there and I'm like, that was literally 5 minutes in the class. It literally took 5 minutes for this kid to get sent to the principal's office. And I sat there, I turned to all of my friends, I'm like, how the hell has that just happened? Like, this was literally period 3. So Jesse ends up going to the principal's office, and you know, we all just sit there and do all of our work, and the teacher acts like nothing happened. So that all ends up happening, and we don't end up seeing Jesse for the rest of class, and it comes to about lunchtime. So lunchtime comes around, and Jesse ends up coming back to the lockers, and you know, we all end up grabbing our food and going out to the lunch area. And I say, Jesse, what happened? Like, did you get into trouble or whatever? He said, yeah, bro, they gave me a Thursday after school detention. I'm like, bro, that is actually terrible. Like, what? How have you gotten a Thursday for that? He said, I don't know, man, but like, I guess I'll just have to take it. And a Thursday after school detention is basically we have to stay back till like 4:30, as if staying back till 3:20 isn't enough of a punishment for just existing on the planet. Apparently schools make you want to stay back till like 4:30. Yeah, it makes sense, because that's going to achieve a whole lot, isn't it? Anyway, rant aside, we basically go out to lunch or whatever, and we're just talking for a little bit, and then it ends up getting to about like 1:30. The bell rings, and we all end up having to go back inside. So we end up all going back inside, and I'm pretty sure we had English for the last 2 periods, which was just amazing. You know, I just love English. I love writing essays on things I don't care about. So we end up going back inside, and Jesse ends up sitting in the back of the classroom again. And like, as he walks in, I see the teacher like looking at Jesse and then just immediately looking away. Like, he was already pissed at Jesse for literally no reason. And I'm guessing Jesse got the same idea. Like, I don't know how Jesse survived in this classroom for so long with this teacher who literally just hated him straight up. So we end up walking inside, and we all sit down again, and the teacher says, all right, everyone get out your books, but we're gonna start like writing some stuff down and just like taking notes on some documentary, I think it was. Now, at our table where we were, let's just say we weren't the best students, right? Like, there was about 7 of us around the table. We all like to just talk and socialize, which is completely normal. Like, if you do that in class, I'd like, good for you, like, if you have the courage to do that. So we all end up talking a little bit, right? Like, I can't remember what we were talking about. It was probably something about motorbikes or something, because apparently we're all like this was 2 years ago, right? Everyone around the table liked motorbikes. I didn't really like motorbikes, didn't really care, so I just sort of sat there, like, well, not really listening to the teacher. I just sat there with my head, like, looking out the window, just like mindlessly just doing nothing, to be honest with you. Now, me and Jesse were the only ones on that table that weren't talking, right? Literally the only ones. There were 5 people talking, we were the only ones that weren't. The teacher looks up, sees everyone talking, and instantly turns to Jesse and goes, Jesse, why do you keep talking? And Jesse literally stands up. He's like, I wasn't talking. What do you mean? There are 5 people on this table who are talking. I'm the only one that isn't. Why do you always pick on me for stuff? And at this point, we're like 10 minutes into the class. I'm like, oh, great. Here we go again. Like, another episode from the teacher and Jesse. The teacher ends up standing up and literally says, I don't like your attitude. Your attitude has been horrible today. Like, why do you keep doing this? Jesse says, you've been picking on me all day. I haven't been doing anything wrong. I sit here and I do my work. And the teacher's like, no, you don't. You literally keep talking over top of me. And Jesse says, I was not talking once during this class. Like, what's wrong with you? And the teacher stands up and literally says, do you want to go to the principal's office again? And then Jesse ends up screaming back at him saying, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, what's wrong with you? And at this point, right, everything's tense. Like literally, like these are the only 2 people standing up. Everyone else is sitting there silent, just watching them. And the teacher says, oh yeah, okay, what are you gonna do about it then? And I'm not even kidding. Jesse literally walks up to the teacher, literally says, I'll show you what I'm gonna do about it. And just full slaps the teacher in the face. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, what am I looking at? So Jesse slaps the teacher. The teacher immediately is fazed by this, because like who on earth expects to get hit by a student? So this ends up happening, right? And immediately, like, the teacher starts calling for security and like trying to get everyone to get up and like get security or something. So security ends up coming along and basically just like grabbing Jesse and just restraining him, because at this point he was pissed off. And to be honest, right, like, obviously violence is never the answer, and I don't condone anyone using violence as a way to get what you want, or just like voice your anger or whatever. But let's be real, right? The teacher was being a complete asshole to Jesse for basically no reason. Like yeah, he talks back or whatever, but at the end of the day, the teacher was giving Jesse attitude in the first place. I believe, right, in schools at least, if a teacher's giving you attitude, I don't care, right? Students should be able to give the same attitude back. I don't care about the whole respect thing. If teachers can't give respect to students, then the teacher doesn't deserve respect. I don't care if they're part of the staff team or whatever. If you can't show respect to someone, you don't deserve it back, alright? I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. You just can't expect to get respect if you don't give it to other people. So anyway, this all happens and the teacher ends up running out the classroom, like trying to just, I don't know, just go to the office and whatever and report it. So we're all just sitting there like, oh my god, what just happened? So I'm sitting there for a minute, like just fazed by what happens. The teacher ends up coming back about 10 minutes later. So we had like this substitute, like librarian librarian who walks in to just like supervise us, and she basically says, all right, everyone go back to your work, like we'll get this all sorted in a minute. So we all end up going back to our work. Oh, well, at least we tried to. I mean, I couldn't go back to my work after looking at what I just saw. So about 10 minutes later, the teacher walks into the classroom, the librarian leaves, and she literally just, and he literally just like gets up and says, all right, everyone go back to your work, like nothing just happened. I literally sat there, just saw one of my teachers get slapped by a student, and he just ends up coming in and says, oh yeah, go back to your work, like nothing happened. Like what? So we all end up going back to do our work, and at the end of the day, I see Jesse and like this, I see Jesse like talking to the office people. So I walk over, I'm like, Jesse, like what happened? Like you all good? He said, yeah, bro, they suspended me for a week. I'm like, damn, bro. I mean, you know what? Fair, like obviously, right? Jesse's an idiot for slapping the teacher, but still, like the teacher was aggravating him all day, and he's known to have anger issues. Like I don't know what the teacher expected. So yeah, moral of the story: don't be a dickhead teacher. Don't go out there like if you're one of those teachers that go out there with like the mission of just annoying everyone, then just go away. But also, if you're a student, don't go around slapping teachers because you're going to get suspended. I mean, unless that's what you want. I mean, just don't go around slapping teachers. Yeah, if you guys want to send me story times, go to my Instagram, @GliderGuyYT, and I'll probably feature you all in a video. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.